it's easy to jump in your car and go on a road trip, but for African Americans in the Jim Crow era, racial persecution was real. So today, we're learning more about the guidebook that gave them advice on safe places to visit in the U.S. Evita, most people have heard of Green Book, the movie, but what is the actual Green Book?
Right. I have a couple of examples here, but the Green Book, its full name is the Negro Motorist Green Book, and essentially it was a guideline for African Americans to road trip around the United States during Jim Crow. So it includes lodging, it includes places where you can get car repairs if you break down, all different types of places that one may need on a road trip, but that was safe for Black travelers during Jim Crow.
But there's also a new updated version of the Green Book.
I'm really excited to put this out here because Martinique Lewis is the author of the ABC Travel Green Book. This is the new age, new edition, international scope of what the Green Book was. She really wanted to pay homage to the history behind the story of the Green Book and create safe spaces, but also put a lot of Black entrepreneurs on the spotlight.
I really want to dig into the work that you're doing with your group, which is the Nomadness Travel Tribe. I almost feel as though you are like the digital version of the Green Book.
Yeah, the Nomadness Travel Tribe is a community now of over 26,000 BIPOC travelers, but primarily Black African American women. At any day, at any time, you can go into Nomadness Travel Tribe and ask the lowdown on a destination you want to go to, what are the tour operators and transportation that people really trust. Living abroad for me, especially the majority of my time also was in Asia, it's like really trying to find community and a place where people look like me while abroad, right? And that's really what the genesis was behind Nomadness, creating a safe space because we still unfortunately need it.
All right, so we are currently at Sylvia's, which is an iconic restaurant in Harlem. It's a safe space for Black and brown people, but you're going to take us on a tour of some of the Green Book stops, which are also in Harlem.
Absolutely.
All right, Vita, we are at our first spot, which is the Apollo Theater, which I had no idea is one of the stops in the Green Book.
Yes, absolutely. And what a lot of people don't know is that back in the day before it was the Apollo Theater, it actually used to be a burlesque theater that African Americans were not allowed into. It wasn't until the Great Migration and around the 30s where they started marketing to African Americans and they went from a burlesque to a variety show. And so that's what we know with all of the performances, Billie Holiday, Luther Vandross, Lauryn Hill.
And we love the continued legacy of the Apollo Theater.
Absolutely.
And we've literally walked like 2 minutes up the road and we are at Hotel Teresa.
Yeah, Teresa Towers. You know, they switched the name after time. So for the first 20 years, Black people were not allowed in here. This was created by a German lace manufacturer and it was really for an upscale white clientele. And it wasn't until, again, the Great Migration that African Americans were able to get jobs here and also be able to stay. And it's funny to see what kind of came from that because it turned into like the Waldorf of Harlem. So this place has some swag and the history there runs deep. Malcolm X not only used to do speeches from Hotel Teresa, but he also had that as his headquarters when he split from the Nation of Islam.
We have come to our third and final stop, which is the Harlem YMCA.
Yes, so this actually had two inclusions in the 1956 version for the Young Men's Christian Association and the Young Women's Christian Association. They were also segregated until the 1940s, and Langston Hughes actually was one of their feature editors on their newsletter when they first had one for the Y, which is really, really cool. And I mean, you're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. You would really be surprised at the talent that has both stayed here and performed here.
That is amazing. Well, Evita, thank you so much for this eye-opening tour. I loved learning about the history of the Green Book, as well as what you're doing now in the present to help Black and brown travelers.
My pleasure. Listen, there's a lot of work still to be done, but I'm with it.